How's it going? Gonna talk to you today about whacking weeds. Not just whacking, but whacking weeds with a weed whacker. So here we go. This is my Yard Machines 31cc garbage pick special. This thing was in the trash or in the recycling because the pull start mechanism was actually all gummed up or something. I think that, I can't remember now, it's about a year and a half ago. The dogs, I think, were not releasing, so it didn't start, wouldn't pull start right. I think it's a Ryobi engine. The reason I think that is because I believe they're the only ones that do the upside down engine. And I'm sure somebody on the intertubes will correct me, but whatever. So the crankcase is here and the head is here. Carb is up here on the back of the crankcase. Muffler, spark plugs underneath here. And I've modified the exhaust slightly so that it sounds like a small Skidoo. But that's just because I'm a redneck. Anyway, the other week I tried to finish up my lawn job by trimming around the edges with this bad boy. And I pulled it and it almost started. And I pulled it again and it didn't feel right. And then I pulled it again, it kicked back so hard it skinned one of my knuckles. And then I thought, maybe we've got a problem here. So after playing with it some more, it felt like the compression was shot, but not consistently shot. I took the spark plug out, and I could see the piston moving. I thought, well, that's pretty much just a bag of malarkey, and that needs to be fixed. So I started pulling parts off and doing some exploratory, and there was nothing. No physical damage. I thought maybe a connecting rod was shot or something like that. Turns out, had me a flywheel problem. Now over here, it's like being on TV. Here's one we had prepared earlier. It's another similar engine with the carb on the crankcase and so on and so forth. The upside down muffler set up there. And let's pop this off. When you're taking one of these off, what I find is you loosen this nut jobby on the crankshaft just so that it's clear, so the nut comes up clear off the face of the flywheel, and then you use the special flywheel removal wrench and you give that nut a little whack and it seems to separate because, oh, I'm stuck to my magneto there, because it seats on this tapered part here. So when I put it back on, I use a big like a spark plug socket here and just give it a tap to seat it before screwing the nut back on, little drive nut, the square drive end in it there for the shaft. So what this is the flywheel off of the original flywheel off of that engine. And if we can see here, depending on the lighting, what has happened, where's my pen? What has happened is right in here, the focus isn't that great. You see these two notches, in between them was a raised section, which was the key that fits into this key slot here on the crankshaft. So that key in that little slot plus the friction of the taper are what keep the flywheel in the right position and keep it from moving keep it from twisting on the shaft, keep it locked to the shaft. So as you can see on this one, the key is completely chewed off. There is no key left. It's just cast in the aluminum of the flywheel, and through whatever misfortune caused the problem, it yanked that key right off, it cleaned that key right off. I didn't even find much other than a couple of shavings left in there. But luckily I had this spare engine, also out of the garbage piles, and it had a flywheel on it with a good key. So stick line the key up there, you gotta line your key up, put it on the shaft, and you take something like this, give it a little tap with the hammer to seat it, and then screw your nut back on there nice and snug. I grab it with a big welding glove or something, then crank on it with my ratchet there, make sure it's nice and snug. And then we have a working machine again. Now I'm going to take her outside here and see if we can start it for you, just for proof, and so you can hear my god-awful muffler modification. So I'm not wasting your time, I did actually start this a second ago just to make sure it still runs. That's the reliability of garbage picked hardware, I guess. Anyway, it's not really warmed up, but it should start again. There she goes. That is why my neighbors love me.